New York City boasts a thriving bakery biosphere. From classic croissants to colorful cakes to creative confections, the Big Apple is a dream location for any pastry ecologist to conduct their research. Today, we're investigating 17 species of pastries across 5 bakeries to assess their conservation status in this urban jungle. Let's get started. We're starting this trip off at Radio Bakery in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. Radio Bakery is what taxonomists call a TikTok viral bakery, so there's typically a huge line, but I'm here on a random Wednesday avoiding work, so I skipped right on in. Combing through the display, I began drafting my pastry roster. Every time I'm at a bakery, I feel like Dr. Strange calculating all the possible combinations and permutations of pastries I can select to curate a balanced meal. There are so many factors to keep in mind, from what looks fresh, to what's seasonal, to what I'm craving in the moment. After ordering, I grabbed a seat outside to begin the feast. Thank goodness I've been lifting weights, cause this box was hefty. First out of the box was an heirloom tomato croissant, a radiant slice of tomato sitting on a cheddar cheese souffle with olive oil and salt and pepper. The contrast of the flaky, crispy croissant shell with the juicy, tangy tomato was a marvelous ode to the summer, and my only wish was that the tomato slice had gone to the gym and bulked up a bit. Next is the blueberry lime croissant. Much like how you can age a tree based on the number of rings, you can do the same with croissant layers, and this one must have been prehistoric. It was filled with coconut lime pastry cream and topped with fresh and compoted blueberries with a sprinkle of lime zest. It's fun staining your lips with jammy blueberries and looking like a black bear that had just rummaged through a blueberry bush. Now moving on to the second tier of the box, the focaccias. This one here is the shakshuka focaccia with spicy tomato sauce, egg, sumac, and sesame seeds. Looking at this was like looking in a mirror. Dense and greasy, and what I suspect was the culprit weighing down the whole box. I know this is technically a shakshuka and not eggs in purgatory, but when a golden beam of sunlight hit the focaccia, I like to imagine that the eggs were ascending to heaven. Finally, the smoked salmon sandwich, loaded with cream cheese, dill, pickled onion, and everything spice. Arguably better than lox bagel sandwiches, partially because rectangles are just inherently superior to circles. I was getting pretty full, but smoked salmon doesn't exactly sit well in the sun, so I suppose I have to finish it. It's just my cross to bear, I guess, and it's such a burden. I also picked up an extra Earl Grey morning bun as a treat to share when I get home and to perfume my backpack in the meantime. After diligently transferring the contents of the box into my stomach, it's time to walk it off and make room for the next batch of pastries. We're heading over to Salswee in Manhattan, another popular spot boasting sweet treats that attract Hansels and Gretels from all around the city. Though they have plenty of pastries and buttery goods that were admittedly very tempting, I'm here for their desserts, so let's move right along. The selection of desserts was picturesque, and I wish I had an orchard of whatever tree they planted that bore these fruit. With so many options, a game plan was needed. Fortunately, I studied the menu and knew I wanted to try the mango, chocolate banana, and mushroom. They also have a variety of cakes, perfect for a small celebration with close friends or a very fun solo night in. It was busy and packed inside with no place to sit, so let's take these goodies back to the lab to run some tests and analyze the data. After taking a mugshot of the desserts, it's time to begin the taste test. Starting off is a classic favorite of the Minions, the chocolate banana. There's the age-old debate of which end to peel bananas from, so in an act of bipartisanship, I split it right down the middle. Inside the chocolate shell was chocolate mousse with chunks of real banana. The shell was fun to shatter and crack with each stab, and it tasted nice and light. A decent start, and I saved the rest for later to protect myself from any incoming red shells in the meantime. Behind door number 2 was a beautifully shaded mango. Its surface even had the slightly spotted texture of an actual mango, which was an impressive level of detail. After its execution, the mango's contents spilled forth, and revealed a tart and tangy coulis with bits of mango surrounded by a whipped ganache. Deliciously tropical, and I considered turning off the AC to recreate the corresponding hot and humid vibe. Of the 3 desserts we got, this one was my favorite. Last up is the mushroom. So if the banana had banana chunks and the mango had mango chunks, I'm expecting this to have bits of portobello and shiitake inside. Call me Negan and say hello to my knife Lucille, cause we're about to treat this mushroom like Glen Rhee. This reveal was by far the most dramatic and gruesome. There were more components involved than the other 2, making it fun to eat. Jiggly strawberry and vanilla cream cheese mousse, snappy white chocolate with jammy strawberry coulis, crunchy chocolate soil, and when you Frankenstein them together, the flavors come back alive in your mouth. I think Salswee is worth a try at least once for the sheer novelty, especially if you're a fan of fruity desserts, and it's fun to take knife in hand and crack open the shell to watch the juices spill out. But let's call in the corner to finish investigating this brutal murder scene and move on to our next bakery. It's a brand new day and I can already feel my body shaking from pastry withdrawal, so let's head on over to Queens. Sitting at the corner of this red brick building is Sunday's Bakery. Though everything looked enticing, I tried to practice some semblance of self-control and be a bit more reasonable this time, so I limited myself to 2 items and took my goodie bag over to Astoria Park to soak in the nice weather. After settling down at a bench, it was time to get to work. First up to bat was the pistachio lattice. The buttery, crispy lattice was intricately woven, with pistachio frangipane bursting through the openings. Every bite introduced a new barrage of pastry flakes that rained down upon the unsuspecting ants below. There was also raspberry jam hidden inside that added a touch of tangy acidity that balanced nicely with the rich and earthy pistachio. For my savory selection, I got a cheddar pretzel twist that was beautifully baked to a delicious golden brown. It looked like it had just come back from a vacation in Cancun where it spent all of its time tanning on the beach. Of course, it got the classic New York treatment and was sprinkled with everything seasoning to add a salty, garlicky, oniony bite. The pretzel also came with a smoked paprika Greek yogurt sauce for some dunking, which lent a refreshing creaminess and change of pace. These were 2 great treats to have in the park, and excuse me as I finish eating while rubbing it in the faces of all the runners passing by. Our penultimate stop is a dessert gallery by the name of Lysee in the Flatiron district of Manhattan. There's a small dine-in area on the first floor, but those usually require reservations, so let's head on up. Turning around from the staircase, it was truly a breathtaking sight. The idea is that all the pastries and desserts are presented like in a museum, but the whole store is a gift shop where you can purchase any of the pieces. It required all my willpower not to take a bite of each item and stuff them in my backpack. It almost felt strange looking at these delicate pieces of art without any protective cases or security officers around to ensure they wouldn't be stolen. The desserts especially exuded elegance, and the care and attention to detail that went into each was inspiring. I shudder to imagine how steady one's hands must be for all the meticulous piping and the level of focus that's required, especially with the larger cakes. After completing a tour of the gallery and being careful not to drool onto the pieces, I finally went up to order, where I was ambushed by a display of weekend specials. Truth be told, I've actually been here before and had a couple of their desserts, but I'm here today on a special mission, to try their limited summer weekend item, the corn popsicle. The bulk of the popsicle was a creamy corn ice cream with bits of actual corn inside. It's topped with kernels of corn cremeux and a layer of corn sablé on the bottom. And of course, white chocolate leaves with cornmeal dust to complete the look. This was a sneaky way to trick me into eating my veggies, but honestly, if this was what eating vegetables looked like, I would recreationally eat salads all day. It tasted like those Korean banana milk drinks, but if it was made with corn. The sablé was toasty with hints of caramel, and I just wish it was 30% crunchier. Eating ice cream in the summer is always such a tricky affair. You want to savor each bite, but there's the looming pressure of the sun that inconsiderately melts everything into a soup. That's why I've always believed that ice cream is a better winter than summer treat. I also got a couple other goodies to go, so let's follow Dexter and his sister Dee Dee back to the lab again for some further analysis. Before we get started, take a quick look at this. Not only did the butter from the pastry stain the paper bag, it seeped all the way to the big bag as well. Truly a buttery omen of delicious goodness to come. This is the Pain au Chocolat 2.0, Lysee's innovative reinvention of the classic chocolate croissant. It's like if a regular chocolate croissant went to a salon and got a K-pop idol makeover. The layer of ganache on top with a crumble ensures that there's chocolate in every bite, and even the chocolate bars inside are house-made so that they're thicker. Cutting into the croissant revealed a gorgeous honeycomb cross-section, and I love the balance and presence of chocolate on both the top and bottom of the croissant. Okay, enough chit-chat, let's get chomping. I had to put in earplugs before taking a bite because just listen to this crackly crunch. Each bite induced a shower of chocolate crumbs and was a gentle self-reminder to switch to some anti-dandruff shampoo. In addition to the sweets, I got some juice made with mango, passion fruit, and lemongrass. It was tart, tropical, and tasted like orange juice that entered a period of self-discovery and glowed up. Even the bottle itself was fun and felt like drinking a potion, and I could feel my health and mana regenerating. If this is what people drink during juice cleanses, sign me up. Now, as sad as it may be, we're reaching the end of our tour, but chin up because we're going out on a banger. Our last stop is the Cabra in the East Village, a bakery that warrants secure hosiery because it's going to knock your socks off. After receiving the pastries, it was time to dig in. They even warmed up the plate, which was extremely kind of them. But first, coffee. This cortado rivaled that from Say, a coffee shop over in Brooklyn, and if you saw the previous coffee video, you'll know that this is very high praise. It was fun to watch the surface shimmer as people walked by, like the glass of water from Jurassic Park. The cup also had a good amount of heft to it and felt comforting to hold. Maybe nobody will notice if I sneak it into my bag. I started off with dessert, and this UFO-esque construction is the matcha sour cherry choux. If I had to sum up its essence in one word, it would be balance. There's the creaminess of the matcha balanced by the tart and sour cherry, the crunchy crackling on the choux balanced by smooth matcha mousse, and of course, everything is balanced precariously on top of one another. Now for something savory, and for that we have a ham and cheese croissant. I couldn't look too closely because the spiral was hypnotic and I could feel my eyelids getting heavier as I was put under its spell. I liked the geometry of this croissant and how every bite guaranteed a bit of ham. The sesame seeds were a nice touch, and there was just a hint of mustard that added an oomph to tie everything together. And then there was one. Fortunately for it and unfortunately for me, I felt a little full, so I took it to go. But not before copping a couple of other bonus treats. And now for the last time, let's head back to the lab for some final dissections. Before getting into the pastries, I pulled the trigger and got the cup. My legal team wants me to clarify that I did in fact buy it and did not steal it. Learning how to make latte art has always been on my bucket list, and this cup felt like the perfect easel to start with. Now comes the pastry parade. A cannelé, the cardamom bun from before, and a cookie. In the words of Chef Colette, how do you tell how good a cannelé is without tasting it? Not the smell, not the look, but the sound of the crust. Listen. The symphony of crackle. Only great cannelés sound this way. The cross-section was mesmerizing, and I wish I got more. Next up is our friend from earlier, the cardamom bun. Pulling it apart, I could actually see its soul rise out, and when you breathe in the aroma, it feels like you've been possessed by its spirit. I'm always hesitant to get bready pastries because eating a block of dough can feel like a chore, but that was not the case. Soft, pillowy texture with a bit of springiness and not too sweet with the perfect level of spice. And for the final pastry of the strip, the fanciest looking cookie I've seen. This is the Concord grape and almond cookie. Like everything else Le Capra makes, it was intricately engineered. 2 layers of cookies sandwiched on top of each other, an almond butter and grape jelly filling, a thin layer of chocolate on top, and bits of cacao nibs and flaky salt. Here's a final shot of the battlefield, and I should count myself lucky that I don't live nearby, because I would come every day and my paychecks would be sent directly to them. After investigating New York's bakery biosphere, I think it's safe to say that it's flourishing. Part of why I love bakeries so much is the variety, and you can always find something to satisfy any craving. Now, onto the awards ceremony. For savory goods, the focaccias at Radio Bakery take home the prize. You could open-face slap me with any of them, and all I would say is thank you. But my overall personal favorite has got to be Le Capra. Not only was every pastry well thought out and executed with textbook precision, but their coffee program exhibited just as much care, making it the perfect stop any time of day. We've barely scratched the surface of bakeries in New York, and the list of places I still want to try remain as long as my list of chores I've been putting off. But in the meantime, it's time to make like a ball of dough and rest. Peace out.